you're not allowed to ever say anything negative about being fat whatsoever because fat's not a feeling, even though you can feel like anything else these days, but you can't feel fat. You can identify as anything else these days, but you
But
can't
you can't feel that.
identify as fat. Like, are you serious?
Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the Body Honesty Project. My name is Lydia, and today I have for you the second half of my conversation with my friend Lady Starzan, where we talk about the holiday season and particularly about guilt and shame around the holiday season. I love talking with Starzan. She is my best friend on YouTube, so I really hope you enjoy the second part of this conversation.
Occasions like Christmas for me are filled with no shame and no guilt when it comes to food. Christmas is also a time where we are around family members that are very shameful when it comes to our bodies. And this is because they are unhappy in their own bodies, so they project onto others.
So I wanted to stop that one there because I agree and disagree with this one. Yes, some people do project, but I know a lot more other people that, especially those who have lost weight and want that for their family, like they'll say things like, and I've been guilty of this in the past myself. I've said stuff to my family members. My mother says stuff to everybody, but my mother doesn't. Like I don't think that she hates her body now, and I certainly don't hate my body right now. But if I would say something to a family member, it's more like, I just want you to feel like how I feel. I know that you can do this. Or especially I'm more likely also to say something to someone that I knew when they were thinner, and also how they felt and what activities they were doing, and like they had much more zest for life back then. And now if they look not just large, but large and uncomfortable and sad, that's more, it's the whole demeanor. So I don't think that people are necessarily projecting. But if you have gained weight and you're around family members that haven't seen you in a long time, and it's not only that you've gained weight, but if you look sad and depressed about it and it's showing, people are going to comment.
Right. It's true. It's true. And it's a matter of like, I've always been happy go lucky, bubbly. Like, I don't really project upsetty spaghetti. I just don't. And which is, I've been accused of doing drugs. That's how happy go lucky I tend to be. Which is funny because I'm allergic to half of them. So, no, not doing them. But, so I will say that even someone like me, if I saw someone like, okay, like people in my family who have gained weight, people that I love very deeply, even at my size, I will talk about it to them. I don't hate myself. I don't hate my body because it's the only one I got. I can't hate it. I can get mad at myself for what I've done to it, but I will say this when it comes to that, I agree. There are people who, yes, are going to lash out and they're going to be miserable. But I don't think it's as frequent as everyone makes it sound. And again, we go back to, thinking everyone's looking at you. I have a feeling a lot of the people that believe all these aunts and uncles and family members that are going to be mean and project. I wonder how many of them are actually doing it versus how many are actually concerned and these women are just upset about that
Hmm.
because they don't want reality put in their face. Look, if you're at the dinner trough and you are shoveling down your fifth plate while everyone else is finished eating and you don't like that someone says something.
This group of people also tends to get really upset when people say things about themselves. So like this would be very, very common at my house, that it'd be like a dinner buffet and people are getting stuff, and maybe my aunt might say, "Oh, I really shouldn't have this. This is gonna go straight to my hips." She can say whatever she wants about herself,
It's
okay?
her body.
Yeah, but then a lot of these type of people will take offense to that. Like, that type of conversation does not belong at Christmas. And like, I honestly, if you're talking about yourself, you're talking about yourself. But these people will often take that as saying they were being fat phobic and talking about them, or they were attacked, but they weren't.
Because the problem is that you're not allowed to ever say anything negative about being fat whatsoever. Because fat's not a feeling, even though you can feel like anything else these days, but you can't feel fat. You can identify as anything else these days,
but you can't feel fat.
Identify as fat. Like, are you serious? And so I find that hilarious in and of itself. Yeah, it's because, all right, remember, cute fat queer. She is a perfect example. Somebody commented on their own body, and she literally said it's physical violence.
Yes.
Against. So
You're
again,
attacking me.
Attacking me. Why would you look?
When you say shitty things about your fat body, why do I still know that?
It's I can say, and I'm not gonna get up and get that close, but like, yeah, you intimidate and nobody. But it's just like, it's that mentality. And again, I go right back to the thing, main character syndrome. Because if you're the fat person at the table, but Aunt Lucinda is the one saying something about her body. What, Aunt Lou? Is that a comment about me? No, I was just saying that my hips. It's gonna go right to my hips. What are you saying? Because my hips are too big? Well, because I can't fit in the chair if it's got arms in it. Is that it, Aunt Lucinda? You're being really projecting right now. I just was saying because I just got through walking a 5K. I don't want to come back. You know what, Aunt Lucinda? I can't take your internalized patriarchal fat phobia. I'm leaving. Like, that's exactly what I like the same energy.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it feels to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of how dare you project, like, accurately critique yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're accurately critiquing yourself and there's something wrong with you about what you look like, well, then what does it say about me? And that's the thing. It's lack of maturity, lack of critical thinking, no self-accountability, inability to be an adult. It's over and over again. It's the same symptoms. These are people who cannot mentally handle having to take accountability for their actions. So, of course, it's the toxic family members. It's the toxic diet culture. It's everything else. It's the bad people that are inspired. It's society. It's this fault. It's that fault. It's never, it's Christmas. I'm going to enjoy a couple of my favorite foods. And then I'm going to go home and go back to my life. It's never that. It's always got to be this big old grand fight of some kind. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Believe me, I spent years of my life being dictated to by other people, being dictated to by guilt and shame around food, and I'm so happy to say that that doesn't happen anymore. So I just really wanted to say that you do not have to feel any guilt or shame this Christmas, and you do not need to take on your family's guilt and shame around your body. You deserve to have a guilt and shame-free Christmas just like everyone else.
So, how many times can we say guilt and shame in 10 seconds?
Bro, imagine trying to take a shot for every one of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what I have an issue with around guilt and shame is that you can only feel guilt and shame if it's on something that actually bothers you. I cannot force you to feel guilt and shame if it's not an actual issue. So, for example, I've got a friend who sends their kids to private school and will talk all the time about how great private school is. I never feel guilt or shame for sending my kids to public school. Like, they can tell me all these great things, like, oh, you should do it. And I'm like, yeah.
But I'm not gonna.
I'm not, like, it's not a priority for me. It's not something I really care about. So it does not matter how much they talk about it. I will never feel guilt or shame about not sending my kids to private school. I just don't value it. So the only way you can feel guilt and shame about your body is if it actually does bother you. If you are so free and so liberated, it shouldn't matter what anyone says. Because you cannot force some. I cannot make you feel guilty or make you feel shame. I can say a bunch of things, but unless it triggers something within you, you can't feel that way.
I 1,000% agree. And I can think of, literally for myself, I can think of a billion different explanations on that. I have friends of mine who, like, I cannot count, because you and I've talked about it, how many times people don't like me on the internet, even on my own side politically. And the first thing they do is they make fun of my weight, or they make fun of my teeth, or they make fun of the fact that I have cats. And I'm like, okay, now what? Or when I make an opinion, I can think of two instances. Those who follow me will know what I'm talking about, where I've pissed off thousands of people. And I've had thousands of people, and I mean thousands, messaging me the same thing over and over again, trying so hard to shame me. And I go, okay. And
Mhm.
if somebody shames you for something, the only time you're going to react is if you actually find it shameful. Because if it's Lydia put it perfectly. Because how I know this is I have a friend, sort of, who flipped out last year because somebody commented on the condition of her body and the condition of her house. And she had a meltdown about it. People shouldn't comment on it. And I'm like, if you don't like what people are saying, change it. Because if you're going to leave it that way, then that means you're okay with it. And if you're okay with it, then you can't get mad when someone says something to you. So, dear lady with the nose ring and then the not guilty and shameful Christmas, like, why are you worried about being guilted and shamed if you're so proud of your body?
Mhm.
If you're so proud of where you're at, if you now don't have to restrict and you don't need to worry about finding your joy and da 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 da, then why are you so concerned about shame and guilt?
Well, and preaching to her audience that everyone deserves a guilt and shame-free Christmas. And I'm not exactly sure how she's hoping to achieve it.
I don't either. Because, and again, it comes back to the same thing over and over again. I can always pluck out the body positive women that are actually body positive. Marissa's a perfect example. She's always claiming nothing bothers her, but then she's always crying or getting upset when people make fun of her or make comments about her body. She's always getting, if you don't care what people say, then you wouldn't make video after video of how I don't need your opinion about my body. Like, you wouldn't need to
Mhm.
say it. People make fun of, comment on my, do you know it's gotten to the point where I don't even have to defend me about whether I'm losing weight? People will comment about my weight on my videos, and before I even get a chance, I've got at least 5 of my followers going, she is losing weight. That's not the point of her videos. Thank you. And I'm like, because when you are not ashamed of what you're doing,
Mhm.
it shows. Others will already know what you're about. But she is clearly ashamed. She's
Yep.
very clearly ashamed.
Oh, and puffering and pretending like she's over it.
And I feel bad. Normally I don't feel bad for BOPO people because of the whole perpetuation of health at every size and all that stuff. But I feel bad because it truly does feel like this woman has a lot of hatred towards herself.
Mhm.
I have a lot of opinions that are not, and again, it would seem kind of hypocritical right now, me having eyeliner and lipstick on. Um, but I always feel like when you do the amount of stuff she did, when you're putting all that on, you're covering yourself up while you're saying I should never be ashamed of myself. You're putting on extra jewelry while you're saying I shouldn't be ashamed of myself. It does feel like you're trying to build up armor against something you're actually ashamed of.
Right.
It feels that way. And I have no issue against wearing makeup or wearing jewelry or whatever. But when it comes to the context of the video, I notice subtle little things, that subconscious things people like her do. Because at the end of the day, sad as it is, she is ashamed. And rather than just admit, you know what, I got a problem with food, I've got to fix it, whatever that problem may be. Maybe you're not fully disordered or whatever. Maybe, because I think Michelle said it on a video today, a lot of people get the wrong interpretation of what disordered eating is and what it actually entails. Some people think because they might get a little full or they might eat a little too much, that that's the same thing as having an actual disorder. And I'm like, you know what? That's the other problem these days, is because now everybody, thanks to Tess, everyone believes they have a disorder.
Well, because they get hungry. Now they have Anna.
Right. And if they don't immediately eat when they're hungry. Oh, well, they're restricting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're denying. And so it's like, that's the other question, going back to what you asked earlier, if she never did she ever in the first place? Because, we were really up close shot. She didn't even look like she was really that overweight.
Mm-hmm.
So was she even overweight to begin with? Like, these are the questions that I have. Like, looking at this, how much of it is actually even wrong with you, lady? Or how much of it are you imagining and building up? Because again, you haven't really let go of whatever issues you have in the first place that made you feel you had to diet like hell all year long. She's not even that overweight. And this feels like it's a very recent belly, because there's, like, from what I'm seeing, almost no stretch marks on her.
Yeah.
So when you have when you're overweight but you have like next to no stretch marks, you're a new overweight. Like, your skin's just getting in there, sister. Yeah, she's really not that overweight. She does have a fat belly, but that's it. That's all she has, is a belly. And it's not big. I can't even show you because we're going to be on YouTube. But
it's okay. I'll look it up after.
Right. As for cute fat queer, no. Miss, I'm not ashamed of my body and everything's all fine and love myself.
Yeah, and she has to take those weird angles that she, like, on her back or something. Like, it's
always with the makeup filter, which once again, you claim you're not ashamed of yourself, but you're always using not even just makeup, you're using a filter.
And then she's always on her back to, like, pull the skin back or
Hold
something.
it all back as far as she can. Just let gravity do its work.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's the point. Like, it's definitely a matter of, it's always the people, I use this analogy way more than I realize. When you work in retail, right? And you're selling a product. For instance, when I sold mattresses, I have a cat fur in my eye, don't mind me. I have a cat fur in my eye. How me? I don't have any cats. They always said to you, you should never have to mock your competitor. You shouldn't have to say, oh, you don't want to go to Ashley Furniture. No, their mattresses are shit. No, you don't want to go there. Oh, Kimbrel's, you don't want to go to them. No, they're terrible. Their return policy is shit. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to bluster and say how terrible something is. Your good product or your good company should speak for itself.
Right.
You should be able to speak on its own merit. So if you have to constantly say how confident you are, yeah, I'm confident. Yeah, because of these patriarchal cis white males and their thin patriarchy and their diet culture and their hatred on the fat bodies. Is it that? Is it? Because the only time guys comment on my body is, well, thanks to the red pill movement. More of them say something now than they ever did before. But I digress. They're the same guys that I know for a fact are friends with the fat women, but they'll quickly say it when they need to get on top, like, of an argument. But I digress. The only men that ever commented on my body were men that thought I was trying to flirt with them or get with them. Otherwise, they never said a word. So, was it men? No, usually the people making fun of my bodies were girls.
Yeah.
Fellow women. Friends.
Mhm.
And it was never to get guys' attention. It was just because they didn't like me. That was it. So, again, is it this? Where are you getting this idea from? Like, where are you getting the enemy from? Why do you have to make fun of other people for it? Why do you have to drag other people down for it? Why do you have to put up this whole front? If you were truly happy with your body, do you know what you would never talk about? Your body.
Mm-hmm.
You would never have to bluster and bolster and take half naked photos and videos, and this would go for any person of any size. A lot of, and that's something I going back to the original discussion about thin people. How many women you know that are at healthy, beautiful weights, good figures, and they hate themselves? So what do? They post thirst traps all day long.
Yeah.
Like, people that don't like themselves focus on that. They hyper focus on it because they need somebody to say that's beautiful.
Right.
They need someone to come out and say, no, that's good. No, that's great. No, you should be proud of that, because they can't find it in themselves.
Right.
And that's what this entire thing was to me. This is a person that's unable to cope with the fact that they feel shame and guilt for their body. And during Christmas, they've got other family members that feel the same way about their own bodies. And this is someone who doesn't want to have to deprive
Right.
themselves anymore, restrict anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They never wanted to go through the actual training to be a responsible adult with their body or their choices. And now they're at a point where the internet has told them they don't have to at all.
Right.
I don't know if that made any sense.
Oh, it did.
late night ramblings of Star Son and Lydia. So
Well, it is getting late, but before we wrap up, I would like to ask you, how are you going to be approaching the holidays?
like I do any other special event, I already pre-plan what I want to eat. And that this has been my entire life, because I actually am an extremely picky eater. Like, at Thanksgiving, I'm like, well, I don't like half of what everyone's making, so I'll make something for myself. So I made sure I made sides I knew I liked. Um, and that's what I ate. And that was it. And so it's the same thing. It's like, I know that the house we're going to, we all decide the meal ahead of time. I already know what I'm going to have. And I eat until I'm satisfied, which is usually not a lot. I don't like eating a lot of sweets. So that's the main thing. You're there. I made a video about the holidays recently. And in the beginning, it said you don't need to overindulge. You don't need to overeat. The whole point of you going to the holidays is not so you can stuff your face. Sure, it's a part of it. But the point is to cherish who you have. So that's what I'd recommend everyone going to the holidays doing. Why are you so concerned about your meal? Why are you not concerned about making sure you might get that last Christmas with your grandma?
Good
I'll
point.
tell you right now, I sadly don't remember a lot about the very last Christmas with my mom, because I did not realize it was the last Christmas. It was one where we, like, we just got off a bad year. We had gone through a lot. My husband and I were very broke at the time. I didn't get to enjoy that Christmas, so a lot of it is faded. And now I don't remember much of it. I don't even think I have any photos of it. So why are you guys more concerned, all of you, any of you, with that? Especially if you're going to sit there and tell me you're going to be around family you don't like. Who makes you sit around family you don't like more than anyone? Your mom and your dad, which means you've got them there.
Mm-hmm.
If you like them, worry more about that, because you don't know what your last Christmas with someone might be. So instead of not prioritizing the family, which is the point of the holidays. Why aren't you just doing that? You're worried more about what your next meal is going to be? And you think you're no longer having a disordered eating? You think you've gotten past it? If that's what you're dreading the most? Honey, I got a bridge to sell you. If that's the case. That's how I'm approaching it. I'm approaching it knowing that this could be the last time I see many people. Not that I'm making any plans. I'm just saying I approach every special occasion now with that. And I think the BOPO especially should think that because they're dropping like flies.
Very true.
So maybe you girls and gals and guys out there in the BOPO movement, you should stop worrying about the special food, start worrying about the special people, because you don't know how much longer all of you've got. RIP to those who have passed.
That was a really, really great way to summarize how to handle the holidays. And it is getting very late, so I do think we should probably wrap. But
I'm so sad my water's empty.
And the next time that we do this, Starzan, let's not start recording at midnight.
That was your fault, Lydia, not mine. Lydia, you got to keep better track of the time when you get out of work. You know that? That's what I think you need to do. And then you're sitting there just like, taking care of animals and kids. And yeah.
But this was a lot of fun. And yeah, we should do it again sometime and start a little bit earlier.
Yes. Maybe not 6 months from now, and maybe not at midnight. Right. I promise I'll do better. Don't hate me.
Okay. Well,
I love you. Stay my friend.
Thank you for taking the time, though. I do really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And of course, I will be messaging you soon.
Yes.
Okay. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
I'd like to thank Starzan once again for coming on the channel. And if you didn't see the first part of our conversation, you can find that over here. And if you want even more Starzan content, well, she's been on the channel a couple of times, and you can find that over here. So until next time, stay body positive, but also body honest.